So in this video we'll be going through how to read bus and train timetables and how to answer some of the more commonly asked questions you may find in a textbook or in an exam. So being able to read a timetable is really useful as they are still commonly used as a poster or on a display board whereby you can read important information. Timetables can be used in many forms, but more notably found at train and bus stations and at theatres or cinemas. Now let's just have a look at what a common timetable generally looks like. So here we've got a timetable for what could be either a train or a bus. We'll just say it's for a train. Now in terms of this acts as like a two-way table. So here on the sides that we've got our towns and cities, and going across we've got the times of those trains. Now each column represents a train, so this here is, let's say, train 1, this here is train 2, this here is train 3, this here is train 4, and so on. Now in terms of the names of these trains, the names of these trains can change depending on what you can call it. So for example, if I just get a highlighter, let's go for pink. So this train here, what we'd call this train is the 8:30 train to Sidcup. And let's go for this train here, that will be the 12:10 train to Whitetown. Now from this what we can then do is and again, if I was to use this same train, that same train is the 11 o'clock Burnley train, and that's where the destination actually starts. Now as you can see, as you look at the trains, each of the different trains has different amounts of stops. So for example, train 1 starts at Burnley at 8 o'clock and makes 1, 2, 3, 4 different stops, and any blank sections you may have are basically places where the train does not stop at. So you can see the busiest train is going to be this train here, which is train 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is train 11, and that train then stops at every single stop. And what you will then do is, particularly with these questions, you would get questions asking typically what train would you catch, what time would you arrive, or what time train do you need to catch to get a particular destination, also durations of train rides, and you go from there. So with this, it's really important that you're able to understand what the timetable is and how to read the timetable correctly, but also reading the question carefully as well. This is certainly not a topic where you can kind of skim through a question and know straight away how to work out the answer, because the wording is really important. So it's really important you do take time to understand and read the question, as well as being able to read the timetable correctly. So for example, if we look at question this train here, so train 10 only stops at 2 places. So it starts at Burnley and sort of terminates at 11:30 at Sidcup. So it is again really important that you are able to work through using this two-way table, make notes of cities and times as well. And what we'll do now is we'll have a look at some questions relating to this particular timetable. So let's have a look at some of these example questions. So for question 1, the question asks, what are the times of all the trains that leave from, and then we've got our destinations. So all the trains that leave at Burnley are going to be basically all these times here. So what I would do for that question is write down all those times that are highlighted in pink, and I'm just going to highlight that in pink there. For all the trains that leave at Alton, what I'm going to do is use a different colour highlighter. So here is Alton. What I'll do is I'd write down all of these times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trains that leave at Alton. For Bilham, let's use a different colour. Let's go for a light colour. So for Bilham, so I find Bilham, and it's these trains here. So there are 4 trains that go from Bilham. And for Tim Spa, we just go for blue. So Tim Spa, which is here, let's just highlight it there, and what I'll do for that is I'd write down all of these times that I'm highlighting in blue. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trains that leave at Tim Spa. So for question 2, and obviously you need to make sure you're writing those times down. I'm being particularly lazy by using a highlighter. So for question 2, it says how many trains go from Burnley to Wester? So for this, let me just get a different colour pen. Well, actually, let me just get rid of these highlighting, like so. So for Burnley to Wester, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for trains. Now remember that the columns represent the trains, so these are all, so that's the 4th train, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14. So we've got 14 trains altogether, and I'm looking for how many trains have I got a time for Burnley I should say, to Wester. And apologies if I said Burnley before, I'm guessing copyright issues for this. So Burnley to Wester, so I'm looking for trains that have got Burnley and Wester. So for example, train 1 has got 2 times, so that's 1. I've got another train here that's got 2 times. Now the 3rd train starts off at Burnley, but it doesn't go to Wester, so I can't include that. The 3rd train does. The 4th train doesn't. The 5th train doesn't. The 6th does. This one does. That one doesn't. This one does. This one does. And this one does. So altogether I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trains that go to Burnley to Wester. The next question is then how many trains go from Burnley to Tim Spa? So let me just get rid of these highlighters so we're not getting confused, and let's go for a different colour. There we go. So here we're going from Burnley to Tim Spa. So Burnley, Tim Spa. So the first train goes to Burnley. Well, all of them go to start from Burnley, but that one doesn't go to Tim Spa, so it doesn't include this one. The second one does. The 3rd one does. This one does. That one doesn't. This one does. This one does. That one does. That one does. And that one does. So altogether we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trains again that go from Burnley to Tim Spa. And the final one, how many trains go from Sidcup to Trickway? So again, let's just get rid of our highlighting so we don't get confused. So here I'm looking for times that I've got both those 2 trains, so Sidcup to Trickway. So Sidcup is here, Trickway is here. So the first train does, second train doesn't, the 3rd one does, 4th one no, this one does, no, that one does, this one does, that one does, and that's it. So here we've got 6 trains that go from Sidcup to Trickway, like so. So let's have a look at our next question. So question 3, this is to do with times now. So what time do I get into Wester if I catch these particular trains? So the Burnley 8:05 train, which is this train here. So if I catch the 8:05 Burnley train, what time do I get to Wester? Well, that's going to be 10:04. So the answer to this one is 10:04. For Diddley, the Diddley 10:36 train, well, that's going to be, so I find Diddley, which is here, and looking for the 10:36 train, which is this one here, and that gets to Wester at 12:14. So the answer to this one is going to be 12:14. The Alta 11:51 train, well, the Alta 11:51 train, so find Alton, and the 11:51 train, which is this one here, highlighted in yellow, and that gets to Wester at 14:04. So the answer to this one is 14:04. So again, question 4, what time do I leave Bytown if I get into Trickway at 10:35? Well, the 10:35 Trickway train is this one highlighted in yellow, and I want to find the Y-Town time. So the Y-Town time is 9:47. So I'm going to write 09:47. You could write the answer as 9:47 AM, but I would just simply just copy whatever time sort of layout is written in the question, in the timetable rather. Now the Bilham 12:59 train, so find Bilham, and I'm looking for 12:59, which is here, and again to find Y-Town is the one before it, so that's going to be at 12:47. And Wester 2:14, so let me just get a different colour highlighter, let's go for pink. So the 12:14 Wester, so find Wester, 12:14 is there, and then going up to the Y-Town, which is 10:47, so again write down 10:47. So with question 5 it says how many stops are there between, and then question A is Alton Tim Spa at 8:51. So the first thing we need to do is highlight this train, so we're looking for the Alton at 8:51, so that's this train here, and we're stopping at Tim Spa. So what I want to do is calculate how many stops the train is going to make. Well, that's the first stop, 2, 3, 4 stops, so then the answer there is going to be 4. For the second, for B, let's get different highlighters. Let's go for, here we're getting the Burnley 10:05 train, so highlight the Burnley 10:05 train. I'm going to stop at Wester, so you can see there that that is only going to make 1 stop. And then the Sidcot to Wester, so again let's get different colour highlighters. Let's go for green. So Sidcot at 13:44, so 13:44 Sidcot is that train there, and we're ending up at Wester, so again that only makes 1 stop, so we can write an answer of 1. And then finally for D, we're looking for the 10:51 Alton train, so let me just get the 10:51 Alton train. So I'm looking at Alton, the 10:51 train is here, and I'm stopping at Trickway, which is here, and I'm counting how many number of stops are in between, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so the answer to that one there is 5. Now for question 6, this is relating to time. So first things first, let's just get rid of all the highlighted aspects of the timetable, because we want to try and make this quite clean. Now if you were given these questions in an exam, you wouldn't get as many different types of questions as this. You would usually get 1 or 2, and they'd be worth maximum 3 marks with 3 different questions asked, and usually and often these questions are only worth 1 mark, so you're either going to get it right or you're going to get it wrong. So starting off with question 6, here we're looking at the time difference. So here it's really important you decide what train we're actually catching. So we're catching firstly for question A the 8:05 Burnley train, which is this train here, and we're stopping at Tim Spa. So what we need to do is we need to work out what the time difference is between these 2 trains. So here we're looking for the time difference between 8:05 to 9:32. And then working out from there, so this is going to be, so 1 hour would take it to 9:05, so if we count 1 hour, that's 9:05, and then we just need to calculate how many more minutes do I need to get from 5 past to 32 minutes. Well, that's going to be 20 and then 27 minutes, so then the answer to this one is going to be 1 hour and 27 minutes. For question B, so again let's use a different colour highlighter. Let's go for yellow. So here we're getting the 9:51 Alton train. So the 9:51 Alton train is this one here, and we want to find out what time it goes to Y-Town. So Y-Town is here, and again what we need to then do, so we're looking for the time difference between 9:51 to 10:47. Now you can't, the key thing with this is you can't go straight onto using your calculator, because calculators work in denominators of tens, so it stops at 100, and obviously time is only 60 minutes in an hour, so it's not just a case of doing 1047 take away 951. That's not going to give you the correct answer, so we actually need to work this out. Now using a bit of common sense, and I always say that you do need common sense when working with maths, is the train journey from Alton to Y-Town is less than 1 hour. So it's actually 4 minutes less than an hour, so it's going to be 56 minutes. And then let's get a different colour highlighter. Let's go for, we've used blue, let's go for green. So for C, we're getting the 1119 Sidcot train. So the 1119 Sidcot train is here, and we're going all the way to Trickway. So what we need to do is we need to work out the time difference between 1119 to 12:35. So this one's definitely going to take more than 1 hour. So 1 hour takes us to 12:19, and then from this we just need to work out how many more minutes, and that's going to be 12:19, and that's going to be, so 35 take away 19 is going to be 16. So it's 1 hour and 16 minutes. And then finally the 12:36 Diddley train. So let's use pink for this one. So we've got 12:36 to Diddley, so we find the 12:36 Diddley train, which is here, and that stops at Wester at 14:04. So for this one, what I need to do is work out the time difference between 12:36 to 14:04. So here again, one policy you might want to do is, let me work from here. So we've got 12:36. So 1 hour takes us to 13:36, and then obviously, so it's going to be definitely more than 1 hour. So I've got 1 hour there, and then what I then need to do is work out the difference to get to then 14:04. So 4 minutes takes me to 13:40. 20 minutes takes me to 2 o'clock. Then I need to add 4 minutes to get to 14:04. So what I then need to do is just add up these 4 times together, so I get 1 hour and 28 minutes. And there we go. Now if you're wanting some extra practice on reading these timetables, there is an attachment, a worksheet attached to this video along with the answers, which you can find in the description.